All right, guys. Hello, and welcome to Beastwood Media. I am your host, Randell, and today we have with us a very special guest, Miss Priscilla. How are you, ma'am?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Want to jump right into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, question for you, Prana. So, where did the name originate from, and where did you derive it from?
Yeah, so Prana collection, the name has a special place in my heart because the word prana means breath of life. It originally comes from Sanskrit. I studied with the Indian philosophy, I studied Ayurveda, I did a lot of yoga back in the days, and Sanskrit is one of the oldest languages, and the actual translation, breath of life, it just scratches the surface,
Right.
because it has a lot of a deeper meaning. So the breath of life, and it's collection, because it's a collection that I curated of garments and pieces and sets that have a special meaning of when I was traveling, and it's very purposeful. Everything is built with purpose, so that's
Right.
where Prana collection came from.
So I know off camera we talked about Dubai in reference to you pretty much taking a trip there and everything like that. And you said some of your pieces derived from there, and you got some of your visions from that.
Yeah.
So would you say most of your pieces are made from linen, if not anything, or?
Yes, so all of the entire collection goes back to the word prana, because we want you to breathe and feel the breath and be one with nature. And
Right.
yes, so primarily the first release, the first drop is all 100% pure linen. And if we talked off camera, Dubai's very hot.
Right.
Especially in the summer when you were there and I was there.
Disgusting.
Exactly. And there's something to be said about wearing natural fabrics when you are in that type of heat, like even in Florida and just in life in general. So
Right.
yes, most of the collection now that is available is pure linen, but now I also have a silk linen collection, and then we have also, my next drop will be pure silk.
Okay.
So it's all natural.
So what's your overall vision or your overall mission for Prana collection?
The overall mission and vision and our ethos is really to give women the opportunity to go back to natural luxury. I really do believe that luxury is a word that's thrown around,
Right.
and it's almost become, it's losing its value. And I think that when we think of luxury, I think health, I think elevated energy, I think of aura. Aura is like a trending word, right, that everybody
Right.
talks about. I think it's so important that we can go back to nature and go back to the original fabrics that we used
Right.
in ancient times, because it really does serve a purpose. The purpose is to let you breathe, to let you feel elevated. There's a frequency, everything is an energy. And we also know what fast fashion and synthetic fashion is doing to the environment as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, so in reference to that, so I know like, whoa. Back early ages, 1970s, 1980s, France pretty much had a famous designer named Kenzo Takada, who pretty much put out fashion in reference to having people feel the same way you want them to feel like right now. So do you feel like your mission, and do you feel like your brand has a similar impact? Do you want to make a similar impact on American fashion? Yeah.
That is good history, by the way. I think there are a lot of similarities there, and I think timeless elegance, tailored classics. I'm putting a new twist into the whole capsule wardrobe, where a woman can feel like she's wearing tailored, timeless pieces,
Right.
but in all natural fabric. So I think that the word timeless is so important, and elevated. You're always elevated because you're also honoring your natural breathing cycle, your natural energy levels.
Right.
So definitely.
So I know also off camera as well, we talked about, guys, sorry, we had a whole conversation off camera. But I know you talked about having your brand as well across West Coast. So now you have it over here in Florida. So what made you bring it to Florida? What made you actually have it, try to launch it here in Florida?
So it's an online shop, and everything is curated, designed, and put together in Florida, because I live here full time. What I meant was that a lot of my buyers, they're in the West Coast and East Coast. We have New York, South Carolina, and we're seeing that people that live in high traffic cities, people that are living in these, different environments, they're really appreciating the luxury of natural fabrics. And I think that's what I want for Florida, especially because it is humid here,
Yes.
especially because it is hot. It's the perfect fabric, and it's the perfect, way to live in a very humid place. And we wear it all year long here. So it's just like Dubai,
Yes.
In Middle East. And that's where I got a lot of my inspiration, or even Thailand. These places, you realize the importance of wearing fabrics that breathe.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, so looking at your social media, I know that you have 29,000 followers, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But in reference to that, how did you find your niche on Instagram?
So I guess the niche was that we really try to educate the audience. And I think there is a need, people are searching for alternative ways of living. We're seeing this, there's a transition.
Right.
And I think it's almost like it's the broader consciousness of society. We're all searching for higher truths.
Right.
We're all searching for deeper meaning. And our, I guess, philosophy has resonated with a lot of people online because we're seeing that. People are worried about the environment. People are seeing the effects of microplastics.
Right.
You know, that's a big thing. 2/3 of the actual fashion industry is made out of synthetic fabrics, which it comes from petroleum. And this is plastic-based. You're literally wearing plastic on your skin.
Right.
Your skin is your largest organ. So I think that people are resonated with that. And they figured out that, oh, wow, you know, it does make sense.
Right.
And also, honestly, even if you don't want to get into the whole philosophy, you don't have to get too brainy about it. You just put it on.
That's it.
Once the women put it on, they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So also, like you said, as far as percentages, so I know that Japanese Americans here in Florida is like, what, 19%, so like 40?
Is it?
Yeah, 40,000, yeah.
You know more than I do.
Yeah, right. So in reference to that, and in reference to your, for the brand being here, what do you feel like you want to do in reference to inspiring people that already have a brand built here as far as Japanese Americans? What makes your brand stand out?
I think there are many things that make my brand stand out. I think the one thing is, you know, I'm a female and over 40, and there is a lot to be said. I think the data is that a lot of females change their careers or really find their niche after the age of 39. So I want to inspire women. If you have something you're passionate about, if you have a dream, if you have something you believe in, whatever that is, you can do it.
Right.
Okay, you can do it. Number one. Number two, I also think that if there's something that you care about and that you love, why can't it be part of your legacy or part of your career or part of your offering? And then as far as the Japanese, since you brought up the stats, I have no idea what the stats are, but I think that there's something to be said about just the Japanese aesthetics. You know, I'm really into the monochrome, although all of our garments and all of our 3-piece sets, 2-piece sets, you can mix and match, but there's some clean lines there.
Right.
And that's the timelessness. And if you look at the Japanese aesthetics, there's minimalism involved, and there's a lot of soft balance. And I think that being in Florida, since we are a melting pot, why can't we have some soft balance for everyone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So my next question to you in reference to that as well, with it being a big melting pot, so do you feel like you have other aspirations to go not only here in the U.S., but also outside of the U.S. as well?
That is a very good question, because I got a lot of my inspiration initially from being in Thailand.
Okay.
I was in a old Phuket, and I saw this little Thai lady, and she was making all of her linen garments. She had a little shop, and I literally bought dresses that she handmade, and she was selling. And then I realized, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in Florida or any of the American cities. It's very rare. You don't have, you know, an older lady. It's gone.
Right.
Everything here is more, you know, fast fashion, bigger labels, and there's something to be said about natural fabrics made in small batches.
Right.
So I think because a lot of my inspiration came from other places, that's why it brought me back here. I wanted to do the same thing, but it's a lot harder.
Right.
I don't sew hand myself. I don't, you know, I'm not a fashion designer by trade, but I can appreciate the fabrics and the things. So I rely on the global economy, you know, importing the linens and producing overseas and bringing it in, because it's a lot harder to do all of that here. It's too expensive, the labor, there's a lot of barriers. We're not self-sustainable when it comes to fashion or a lot of goods. So for me, I'm bringing the outside manufacturing, tailoring products into the United States. But yes, to answer your original question, why can't I bring it back to other places? And I do realize that other places actually have some of the things that I'm already.
Yes.
If you go to South America, you go to Dubai, they have smaller mom and pop local tailors because they can afford, the labor is a lot more affordable. But yeah, I can see a lot of my style can be used in Dubai. Why not?
Right.
We do a lot of business out there, and it's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it. Also, too, so like you mentioned in reference to your brand and everything, so with you having the barriers that you mentioned that you do have, so what do you feel like helps your brand maintain sustainability?
That's a multi-layer question. And number one, if you look at fabrics that really originate from fibers, right? Fibers when we talk about sustainability, we know right away that 2/3 of fashion is not sustainable.
Right.
Why? Because it's made out of plastic. When you look at sustainability, it is what is affecting everything. Your health, is it sustainable? Because
Right.
now you're wearing microplastics, endocrine disruptors. Also, are we polluting the environment? Most of this fashion is going to end up in a landfill, right?
Right.
And that's also not sustainable. So sustainability in many ways, right? In many layers. I think that going back to nature, going back to some of the natural fabrics is a way to contribute to sustainability.
Right.
And I can't control the entire supply chain, right? I'm not growing my flax plants to, harvest the linen.
Right.
But I know that the flax plant is also one of the most naturally sustainable plants where it requires a lot less water. So all of these considerations, when you go back to the linen and the fabrics, that right there is our contribution to sustainability.
Right.
And I don't know if you guys know, but one cotton t-shirt requires, I think, over 700 gallons of water.
Water, yes.
Yeah. The actual linen fibers in linen plant is the most naturally sustainable. It requires the least amount of water, the least amount of pesticides, the least amount of processing, and from end to end, it's a zero waste crop.
Right.
So everything is used and everything goes back to the earth. Same goes with the actual garments. The linen will go back to the earth. And if it ends up in a landfill, at least we've contributed to that aspect that we know
Exactly.
it goes back. Did that answer your question?
Yes, no, you did. Yeah, you're
Yes,
fine.
okay.
Two more questions for you. So, next thing, in reference to your viewers and your buyers, so what do you feel like you want them to take away from your Prana collection as far as putting it on or to broadcast it to other people? What do you want them to take away from it?
There are many things that I want them to take away, but the number one thing is I want them to put it on and just see how they feel. Put it on and check in with themselves. How do you love being, in a tailored natural fabric, high frequency, garment? To me, it's life-changing. So once I started transitioning into this lifestyle, because it is a lifestyle, it was very hard for me to go back and wear synthetic
Right.
polyester. I was a yoga teacher for 15 years. I was wearing synthetic polyester full time.
All the time.
Yes, in a hot yoga room, teaching
Right.
hot yoga. So I know the difference. And then transitioning over to this side, I would love, and I challenge women to experiment, try it, check in with yourself. How do you feel? How do you love it? How's your energy levels? Because we're being bombarded with everything, with noise. Whether it's the air we breathe, the water we drink, whether it's the genetically modified foods, whether it is, everything is a burden and a load
Right.
on the body. So if you're also wrapped in plastic all day, that also has an effect. So I challenge everyone to experiment, including you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like that. Closing question, and this is a two-part question. You can either do this side or that side or both. Do you feel like your brand with Prana Collection, did you open it or did you start it to inspire others, impact others, or both?
I think it was an evolution.
Yeah.
How I started Prana Collection, it was literally me buying all this stuff from all over the world and coming back to America because I was doing a lot of traveling. I was doing a lot of conferences all over the world, Asia, South America, Europe, everywhere. And I started gathering data subconsciously, and I started to realize, oh, I can buy this linen jacket in Florida, but it's lined with polyester. So I would put it on, and I felt suffocated.
Really?
So here I am, yes, this is how this all started. I'm ripping out the actual lining of this linen jacket because I'm like, how can a linen jacket have polyester lining? So I'm ripping it out, and I was like, okay, I have to get this custom made because it's not suiting, I don't like the way it feels. So I started experimenting and having things custom made for myself.
Right.
And in that customization, people started asking me, hey, where did you get that? I was like, oh, I had this made. hey, where did you get? So this is how it turned into the collection, because people started asking me. So this also answers your question, oh, how did you guys grow? It's because literally people started asking me. And because they started asking me, everything is made in small batches, and based on demand, that's how the collection came about, and a lot of interest, and that's it. So it was what I was wearing.
Yeah, word of mouth, supply and demand, and just grew from there.
Yeah, and then you asked me, did I want to affect people, or did they affect, what was the original?
Yeah, I was saying, did you hope to inspire people, to impact people while they're wearing your clothing, or both?
Yes, so it was a natural evolution to impact people, because they had the interest, they liked what I was wearing, and then they inspired me to curate and produce and sell, and then in turn, the people that buy, I have people that have bought every garment that I've ever made, and that's their lifestyle. They love it too, and we get feedback off of that. So
that is great, Priscilla. Well, I'm so thankful for you being here with us today. All right, guys, thank you guys for tuning in thus far. We'll take a short ad break and tune back in with us when we come back. All right, guys, and we're back from our ad break, guys. So we're going to jump into a very hot topic that we have. And the hot topic is the environment. So, Ms. Priscilla, in reference to a Prana collection, what do you feel like is the statistical environment or impact on the environment?
yeah, that is also a very deep question. And, the numbers are alarming. If you look at the fashion industry, and there's a little debate on that. So a lot of people were quoting that it's like the second largest polluting industry that we have. And we're not using that anymore. What we're saying is it's one of the top polluting industry that we have today. And it is true. We have an overconsumption problem. And when we say overconsumption, it leads to overproduction. So when we look at that, what does that mean? What it means is that over 2/3 of the fashion industry, which I mentioned before, is made out of synthetic petroleum-based fabrics. Well, there are repercussions to that. What is a synthetic fabric? It is a fabric that is made out of plastic.
Right.
So plastics, as we know, has a huge impact on the environment, and we are the environment, right? We have our internal environment, and then we have our external environment. Right. And with that said, we are producing, I think, over 92 million tons of fashion, of textiles yearly. And they're saying that most of this, you cannot recycle. There is no recycling. It actually does more damage. All of this, very well marketed recycling of plastics to make garments has been marketed very well, but we're seeing that it's highly detrimental and toxic to everything around us.
Right.
So over 35% of the microplastics in the ocean today comes from the fashion industry. Exactly. Think about that. Fish, everything, the aquatics, like everything is, we have found microplastics in every single organ of the human body, in every single ocean, river, forest, it's everywhere. Right. It's actually in the air. And a lot of it is produced from just the washing of the synthetic fabrics. That water has to go somewhere. Where is that water going? It's going into the oceans. And how does this impact everything and everyone? We also know that microplastics, they're endocrine disruptors. So they're getting into our organs, they're finding it in our brain. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, and it's doing something to our biology. It's changing life as we know it. So the environmental impact and in the human health impact, it's grandiose. And once you become aware of that and you realize that it's impacting everything, and how even female and male, our organs, how people are developing, the hormones and cancer. There's a lot of fabrics today that when they are made out of synthetic fabrics, they also put plasticizers, flame retardants, to make it water repellent. So all of this marketing that you hear, oh, it's water repelling, it actually, they have to use heavy duty chemicals that are also forever chemicals. Yeah. These chemicals do not go away in our lifetime. And that is also impacting everything from ocean to humans to the air that we breathe. I think the statistic was that I read last time, it's over 500,000 tons of just microplastics from laundry, from the washing of the clothes, goes into the water system. So that's like the minimum, right? Because what about all the stuff that goes into landfills?
Right.
That has a huge impact. And to go back to the beginning of this, when you asked me, the overconsumption and the overproduction, there's also a huge problem with that. A lot of these big brands, a lot of these fast fashion brands, and even these luxury brands, they take a lot of the stuff that they overproduce and they burn it in a landfill. If they don't sell it by a certain time or date, so that they can make profits huge, so that they can come up with their next, release, they go and they burn it. So they're burning these synthetic fabrics. So there's also the air pollution. So this goes on and on and on. And it's a really, if I invite people that if they, look into it, just do a quick little, YouTube search or a Google search, watch some of the shorts, and really put that in your psyche and your conscious mind, and see if it resonates with you. I think that you will want to make a change, small changes. You don't have to be drastic about anything. We can't be perfect. There's no perfection, but I think small changes make a big impact. And it's gonna make a big impact on your health too. Fertility is a huge problem. Yeah. We're seeing that there are studies that show that they've done dogs and even in humans where they put males in polyester underwear and it affected their fertility. Sperm count is lowered. They could not reproduce. It actually lowered sexual function. Like, you can go on and on and on with this.
You don't want that, Joe.
No, yeah, exactly. So all of this is super important. The environment, we are the environment, and I really challenge people to look into it, and if it resonates, be the change.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you heard Priscilla, guys. We went deep into conversation, so we're going to take another break. Give us a second, guys. Stay tuned. All right, guys, and we are back with Beastwood Media. So we're going to jump right back into it. So, Ms. Priscilla, last and final question for you. So, in reference to the brand that you have with Prana Collection, who do you hope to work with in the future in reference to Florida or anyone around the world? Who do you want to work with?
Ooh, I've not thought about this question. This is a trick question. You're putting me on the spot.
I'm sorry.
I guess, who do I hope to work with? Well, I'll tell you who I'm working with now, and I'm so grateful. I'm working with women full-time.
Right.
And I think for me, some of this legacy and some of the story behind Prana Collection is that it's made, it's female-led, made by women for women. Even the women that are producing my manufacture, everything is hand-tailored, handmade, and it's all mainly women. So I am grateful that I'm working with women, and actually, I would love to work with more women entrepreneurs, whatever that means, whatever that collaboration means, and I think that we can support each other on this journey of expansion. I think that the way the world is right now, we're all becoming more aware about everything that we're consuming, right? There's an overconsumption of everything. And I really do believe, I love men, I have my husband, I have a son, I have 2 daughters, but I really do believe that the world has been run by a lot of masculine energy, and if we can gather more female entrepreneurs,
Flip it a little bit.
Flip it a little, more visionaries, and get a little more balance in the world with more femininity, I think that that would be grandiose. It would be beautiful to collaborate with other women in the industry, outside of the industry. When people ask me like, oh, are you in the fashion industry? I don't see it that way. I'm more like in the health industry. I've always been into health. My original background was in allopathic medicine, and then I was in Ayurveda for a while. And I think that in the health endeavor and in the balance of everything in life, working with women entrepreneurs would be beautiful, whether that means more shop owners. I love the idea of working with other small business entrepreneurial women, because I think that will have a special effect in the world. Everything is mass produced. Everything is run by a patriarchal system as well. So, working with women, local other businesses, shops, eventually, you know, the larger department stores as well. I think that the awareness into the natural fabric culture should seep into everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I also mentioned before too, I think we talked about it off camera about you going to UCF and USF as
Yes.
well. So in reference to that, you mentioned about you having a health background. So do you feel like with you not having initial start in fashion and you not having that educational background in fashion, did that kind of hinder your success or kind of helped it a little bit?
I think everything that I've done and experienced up until this creation and birthing this, you know, beautiful project, which I consider a baby, everything has contributed and helped. I think that everything has helped me understand the physiology. You know, a lot of it, you don't have to get too much into it, but I really do believe that the skin being the largest organ, the female body being super sensitive, we're very sensitive beings, that when we are wearing certain things, I know that it affects us because I've experimented with myself, and even with, you know, the people that, my followers and the women that buy, they experience it too. So I have a lot of enough anecdotal and a lot of data and a lot of feedback that it does help. So me knowing a little bit about the biology and how things work and having that experience, and even me aging as well. As you get into a certain age, there's perimenopause, there's menopause, and all these things, you become more sensitive. There's a lot of also chronic conditions in women, autoimmune conditions in women. And we're seeing that when you become aware of what you're consuming. Wearing clothes is also a consumption.
Right.
You're absorbing chemicals. You're absorbing, you know, whether that's your beauty products, your makeup, everything from your nail polish to, you know, that yoga bra that you're wearing.
Yeah.
It's touching your skin. So all of that has helped. So going to UCF, I was there for undergrad, I did pre-med, and that really helped. The biology background, chemistry, it brings a certain level of awareness to, I think it becomes the evolution of who you're meant to be and what your legacy is going to be into the world.
Right.
Did I answer?
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
So I know you talk about women in reference to a lot of things that you're doing with Prana Collection. Women is like the big stamp piece that you have. So in reference to women as well, with the target audience, do you target more of younger women, middle-aged, or older women, or is it all?
I love that question, because one of the things that I have done, and I think we have to do a better job in putting it out in our marketing, I'm actually working on this with my marketing manager now, is I have women in their 20s, because we have 3-piece sets, crop tops, things that are for the younger generation, but then you layer, and I have all the way up women in their mid-70s who buy from me.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I do. It's amazing. My oldest female customer, and they're because it is a women's fashion brand, she's 76. So she wears the crop tops as if it was her bra. And then
Right.
she closes, and it's beautiful. She loves it. So I have to do a better job in getting more. We have a lot of different models coming in. I want to get more of the older models as well. We're playing with the range, and it's so important. So I love that you asked that question, because that's another thing that I think is missing in
Right.
fashion.
Right.
There's a lot of the fast fashion hauls, and you see there's, you know, the stats is more of the younger generation. But then there's also the lost age groups that you start seeing these articles, you know, 50 plus, 60 plus, 70 plus. We have customers in every age group. So
Yeah.
I think it's a game changer.
Most definitely. Do you feel like you want to take Prana Collection up a notch besides just clothing? Like you want to get into hats, into scarves, or anything like that? You want to just stay with just the clothing?
It's a good question too. My daughter is 8 years old, and she designed, I helped her, she curated a dress. So we will have, and she's already been wearing it, already been wearing the sample. So we will have at least, it's called the Issa dress, because we call her Issa, her name is Isabella. So we will have for younger, you know, for our daughters. Our daughters should be wearing natural fabric as well. Then I have a lot of people asking, like, oh, what do you wear for bedding?
Right.
I use natural fabrics, of course. So there's linens as well. I don't know if I can overextend myself into that
Right.
arena, but I feel like in the future, why not? There's also, because I still do some yoga and workout, and they're like, what are you wearing? I'm wearing natural fabrics to my hot yoga class, to my Pilates class.
Right.
And they're like, are you so I have samples made for myself as well. So here we go again. where did you get that? I'm like, oh, I had this made for me because I'm still trying to figure out what I like.
Right.
So maybe I can go into that sector. But right now, I really want to hone in on quality, tailored, everyday classics because I feel like every woman should be wearing blazer all the time. Why what's the special occasion? Every day is the special occasion.
Right.
So right now I'll stay in this niche. I'll have my daughter's dresses coming out too, and then we'll see where the universe will take us.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So your last message for all the people out here watching and everybody who's pretty much inquiring. So with Prana Collection, do you hope to pretty much make a male line anytime soon?
Okay, Arlie, that's a good question too. So we already have shirts that I made with my husband.
Okay.
He designed. He was Winter Park's best dressed in 1999 or 2000. He went to Rollins. He's local. He's born and raised, okay? Winter Park. So he curated some beautiful shirts, and he wears them everywhere we go because they match with a lot of the colors that I'm wearing, and people all the time ask him. So we have all of those. Those have already been curated. So it's a matter of, okay, can we get out there and start marketing that and produce? And everything we make is small batches too. So we look at the demand first, and then based on the demand, to answer your question, probably yes, because everybody already asks him. We already have the beautiful shirts, 100% pure linen. All our buttons are natural buttons as well. So we used coconut shell buttons. A lot of mine, this is natural seashell, or we use a fruit ivory as well, which comes from a seed. Takes 15 years, the seed, Ecuador. And then they make these beautiful like tortoise shell buttons. That's one of our signature buttons. So all of this to tell you that all of these small pieces are there, and the men's fashion should be in production hopefully soon.
Well, guys, you heard it here live. She has a male connection coming out, so I'll be there. But yes, anything else you have for us? Any questions you want to ask for Beastwood Media, or?
No, I think you guys are doing a great job. I love that you guys are interviewing alternative, different brands. I think it's so important for us to be able to put out things that we're passionate about that are making an impact. They're making an impact on the individual, their health, their awareness, you know, their legacy, and our children, and also the environment. I think it's so important that we're able to share, you know, all of this adds up. Every little thing that we do with awareness and intention adds up, and having these powerful conversations with people with meaning, deep conversations, I think that this is where society is going to elevate, and we all can just live a better life.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, guys, there you have it. Miss Priscilla has graced us with her presence. She's here in the flesh. Thank you so much for coming on and gracing us here. So, guys, stay tuned for the next interview that we have. Beastwood signing out.